Camera's rolling here. All right. And I'll introduce it and then I'll introduce you.
Sure.
All right. Welcome to Mickey's Roundtable episode 1. I've been thinking about this for, I don't know, for at least 5 years. Finally, I've got my set ready. I've got my table ready. I've got guests. And so the idea is that we've got our roundtable here and we're going to have a roundtable discussion about something having to do with Disney. And I couldn't think for the life of me what I should talk about today. So I brought in guests, and whatever my guests want to talk about is what we're going to talk about. What would you like to talk about?
The Jungle Cruise.
The Jungle Cruise, that is good.
That is,
good
yeah,
topic.
I mean, it's the best topic.
And by the way, this is Emily, and this is Indiana, like the state, not the famed archaeologist.
Very different.
And so I used to work at the Jungle Cruise. It is one of, if not my very favorite attraction at any Disney park anywhere in the world. We're located in Florida here, so we'll primarily be talking about the Magic Kingdom Walt Disney World version of the Jungle Cruise. But why is the Jungle Cruise the best attraction at Walt Disney World?
Well, I'm biased because we spend a lot of time there. We're always around and around.
Really 10 to 12 minutes.
Every 10 to 12 minutes for the rest of our life. No, I think it's the best because there is nothing else.
It's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in any front. It's so unique. It's unique and it's unique every time.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I think any other attraction, it's the same thing every single time, and it's all machine ran. I think the unique thing about Jungle Cruise is it is different every time, and there's that like human touch there, which makes it very impactful on not only us but guests as well.
So yeah, that's exactly what I would say. I just went on Sunday. It was Adventureland Day, so I went in the afternoon.
I can't believe I missed it. I can't believe I missed it.
And I rode on 3 different boats, and
I missed it.
Sorry.
all right. I went on 3 different boats, and every boat is different and unique. You can ride on the same boat twice in a row, and it will be different and unique because of the energy of the skipper or the energy, whatever you're getting from the guests. And you can hear the same dumb joke, and we were talking about this before.
Yeah, it's
just you read this joke, and they've got a script of all these different jokes that you can use. And it's like, this is, but if you tell it right, it's
you read the boat correctly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's this idea that like sometimes the joke is told as outlandishly as possible. Sometimes it's like said as if no one's listening to it,
Right.
and sometimes it's just it's this dry, drawn out thing that you hear the joke told so slowly that everybody on the boat knows the punchline that's about to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. It really is, even when it's verbatim the same word every time. It's still
Your tone of voice can be different. I know that like I'm a very sarcastic one, but sometimes if there's a boat that's full of energy, I'm gonna tell it in a different way to make them enjoy it more than if it was like sarcastic and stuff.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is I've heard people refer to as the sarcasm boats. But it's so much more than that.
Much more.
It's so much more than that.
as a guest, everybody has their own sense of humor, and if your sense of humor lines up with the skipper's sense of humor, that makes for a great experience. And there are people that do not care for the Jungle Cruise. I don't understand that because I love Okay, here's the question. Which is better, a really good laugh or a really good groan after you tell the joke?
Oh.
I feel like it depends on the joke and what you were hoping for.
If it's one of those jokes that you're like, oh my gosh, I know that was awful, and a good groan is like what you're going for because you know it's bad, that's satisfying. But if it's genuinely like a super funny bit or a super funny joke, I'm like, please laugh.
I think it depends certainly on the joke, but also a groan is easier to recover from. Sometimes laughter takes over the next 30 seconds. If it's a good enough joke.
Yeah, that's true.
And timing is so limited.
Yeah,
your time is so limited, and you either have to slow down the boat, which you're not supposed to do,
you're like, you guys are laughing, I have to move on.
Yeah, we have to get to the next joke. And sometimes you've got a back half to a joke that just doesn't get to happen, and that's okay because everybody's having a good
You
time.
know,
Yeah.
there are skippers out there, they can rattle them off. Just joke, 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 joke.
That's how I
Which
am.
I-
I pretty much don't
Oh,
shut
I was
up.
just going to say,
Yeah.
I don't care for those boats. No, like if you come across a scene and then there's a joke for every little thing, you don't know where the guests are looking at.
Right.
So unless you're drawing attention to, the butterfly chimps, and you say something and they're not looking at the chimp with the net, so they don't get the net joke,
Right.
and then tie into a net from the whole thing, and then by the time they see that, you're on something else. So I don't know. Those aren't
You
my
have
favorite,
to like
but
read the boat very well.
And then-
if like everybody's very stimulated and paying attention, you can totally rattle them off because you know they're just like living their best lives. But then there's definitely sometimes that's like, okay, you guys are really slow. We're gonna do one joke per show.
Yeah, we're gonna do
that's all we're required to do.
Yeah.
But the best ones I find are the jokes that you tell that you really just tell for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
They're
The
like
bits and the jokes.
like
that-
you say the joke and you're not expecting anyone.
I was gonna say that's my whole boat.
It's just
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's all for me.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair. But no, there's a joke. It's one of my favorites, and it's very close to a boat, like a joke that's supposed to be told. Is the one you're supposed to tell is we've now turned down the Mekong River because it was just too loud.
I've never heard that.
It's
Yeah.
Okay.
it's super small, super subtle.
Tiny.
I like I just turned down the Mekong River because it wasn't my type, and
I've never heard that.
it
It's so-
never gets a laugh. It never gets a laugh because no one's hearing it. It's right after the backside of water,
Yeah.
right
Right.
before we go inside the temple, Shirley's temple, iconic jokes, and you just slip it in there. Nobody hears it.
It's-
But every now and then I'll hear a.
Well, that's
So
almost
that's all
like
it-
the one that I
that's all
do
it takes.
in front of Schweitzer. I know not a lot of us do it, but where it's like at this point in your trip, if you look straight ahead of you, you're gonna see something really beautiful. But behind me though, there's Schweitzer Falls.
I
That's
can,
one of
but
those
I
I
things
could never
that,
do
like-
that the other day.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Not a lot of
Yeah.
us do it, but a couple of us do it. But then I'll tell that and like look at like a random man like in the eyes and like see if he realizes that I said it. And then like sometimes I'll be like somebody, and then like a dad will laugh or like a mom will laugh. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Well, I think especially.
Makes me feel good.
The jungle itself is there's so much audience participation that is inherent into it. Even if the audience participation is just groaning or laughing,
It's something.
it's something. But there's who here thinks the captain should go down with the ship, and then if no one raises the hands, you have to respond to that. Like
Yeah.
there is even when there isn't audience participation, you have to be able to follow it
adapt,
up. Yeah.
I think it's the biggest thing about being a skipper is just being witty and adaptable. You have to always have something to say or something to fill like
Correct.
the awkwardness.
Because otherwise, it is a
Or
very
just
long 10
embrace
minutes.
the awkward.
Or yeah, finding a beautiful way to embrace the awkwardness too is I've seen people who sit there. I could never. I don't know. I can't stop talking ever. But I've seen people who sit there in silence right at the end of the cruise. We're just waiting to come back to dock. They sit there in silence and go, "Well, that was really awkward.
That
We
was
sat there
awkward.
for a long time. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah,
nobody
yeah.
said anything. It's
Could
kind of on
never
you
be
guys."
me.
Yeah,
Could not be
I
me.
could not do it. I
I
could not do
could
it.
never do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite joke?
I've been thinking about this. Any joke that is so bad that it shouldn't be laughed at, that you get a laugh. And I think about, I don't see anybody canoe. And every once in a while, somebody will laugh at that. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Why'd you laugh at
So
all the jokes?
Those are
Why that
fun.
one?
I can't stand those. Even as a skipper, cannot.
Being the skipper or being...
Like I just don't.
Yeah,
They're
they're not for everybody, and that's,
Right.
but also you hear it and you can't help but go. But it works so well.
Or turning on the Congos, yeah, for we Congo.
I
And
tell
I'm like,
that one,
I
yeah.
tell it too, and I hate it every time I say it.
I do tell it every time.
I love that joke.
I
No,
love
it's
how far
very,
we've
very
come.
like
And
base Jungle Cruise.
it's how you say
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah,
that makes
very,
a
very much so.
difference.
It's I've seen people who say it offhandedly and they're like, turn down the Congo River. We're gonna see exactly how far we Congo. And that's one thing.
Right.
But then other people who stop and pause and go,
And they're like, Did you get
Congo.
it?
Like people who stop to explain their jokes. Who, first of all, how do you have that much time?
no.
But also,
I've seen skippers do that very well, and they place their explanations at really good times. I mean, it's obvious they've
If there's
thought
a
it
big
through.
show scene, Hippo Pool sometimes, because I do the plane joke, or like the miss joke. I say, so you missed it, and I'm like, you missed it, like the joke, and then I'll just keep going. But there's a lot of space there. Other show
Yeah.
scenes, there's not.
Well, in some
So-
places you need filler,
Yeah.
where in other places there's no room for that, and so you
That's
constantly have to be
after backside. Well, my backside water normally goes on for too long anyway.
No, yours is hysterical.
I love.
So
Have
funny.
you? I'm not sure if I've.
So
Oh my
of course,
gosh.
backside
I've
water.
ridden in a boat. I know.
Backside of water is the most anticipated part of the entire cruise. You see people who get on the boats.
T-shirts.
T-shirts that say
I'm here for
O2H.
backside
Yeah.
water.
They want that moment, and I rob them of it every time.
It's so funny.
Especially when they're excited for it.
When I was training, my trainer, when he did his boat for me to see, here's what it is, and somebody had their shirts on, and so he intentionally said, and it's the front side of rock.
That's
This
a
is
solid.
better.
That's a solid one. So what I do is I spend the entire time like, all right, this is the moment that you've all been waiting for. It's the reason you came to Jungle Cruise in the first place. Put your hands together for the one, the only, the incredible, the iconic. I spend the entire time driving past.
Oh, yep.
And then after, and I turn, and I know how long it's been, and I can look. And like, oh, we're
Yeah.
well past it. And I turn and I go, the backside, we missed it. And it, for some people, it's like, what was that? Why do we do
But
that?
if they're anticipating
And
it,
if they're
they're gonna
anticipating-
love it.
and I see people who are like,
I remember riding
they're-
the boat and seeing people be like, you.
yeah,
You-
and making it just completely hyping that up. Especially if I know that there is time to slow down the boat, I'll stop the boat right there and go, oh.
I liked slowing down the boat before I got into the temple anyway. It's a safety thing.
Right.
If somebody's
yeah.
in front of me, I want to give them time to get through the temple anyway. So then I get to stall a little bit and adjust
Fill it.
things there.
Yeah.
So I would
It's-
do that anyway.
There's certain spots that you know you want to slow down, even just for a moment, especially going into the temple when you're
It's scary. The amount of times that I've, you meet up with the boat and they tell me you rip the throttle backwards because you're like, oh my gosh, that boat's slow.
It is incredible, and I give credit to every single skipper I can think of that knows the boats well enough that there's an intuition of, on top of making sure everybody stays seated and safe, making sure that the boat continues motion, make sure you're telling your jokes and entertaining all the guests, but also the aspect of I shall not say names, but a skipper who knew the boat was going to have a problem and intentionally kept the boat going until it was over. I'm not going to name any names, but the ability to recognize the environment that you're in so well in such a proficient way,
Yeah.
on top of being fun.
You
Being a
become
good skipper, you're doing all of these other things while you're doing the jokes, and the guests have no idea that you're slowing down for this other
this
reason. It has
reason,
nothing
yeah.
to do with your jokes or your shtick.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
the beauty of being a skipper too. You become familiar with how every single boat works. You're like, oh, Connie's this way, oh, Zelda's this way, so you know how to.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
like
how it when it feels wrong. You know
I never-
something's
I
gonna
was
go
never
wrong.
that into
you didn't know the
boat.
boats then.
Oh no.
No, it's
Yeah, but I knew if it was being slower, I had no idea which boat I was in. I'd have to look up the.
yeah.
text to
Well,
see.
so I sometimes get in a boat and I put hand on the throttle and go for it. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
Ida. That's
I mean,
Ida.
What,
Yeah.
you, what
it's-
you were talking about too. I knew that she knew that was gonna happen, and it was a matter of guest safety, but also like, all right, just make it back,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have either of you stalled on the river?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
actually haven't. I've been stuck behind a stalled boat, not for terribly long. It was in my first month,
Okay.
so I was stuck in the temple.
Ooh.
So I was told
That's a
not.
scary spot.
It's a scary spot.
Yeah.
It was by the statues, and I just had no idea what to do with that space and that time. Most awkward few minutes of my life. But now I'm ready for it. I know what I'm going to do. I have super stall prepared. Yeah. So, like...
I have a good solid 45 minutes of stalling material.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I've been there since 2020.
That's fair.
I've gone through a lot. I've been through all of the best of the best skippers is who I have a lot of material from, and I've been there through a lot. I've been there through Bertha. I was
I was not there then.
I was behind Bertha on the river actually.
Okay.
You were behind
I
Bertha?
was there that day. So
The one time I got stuck on the river, I was at the second African elephant. I never do that elephant joke, even though I love it. And so it's like every time I was like, did you know elephants have the best memory? And
Just
so I
to
got to
keep-
keep using that, and then I actually stalled the one time when my radio wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Got towed back.
Definitely had to.
I've not had the pleasure. Now that I say that,
Pleasure.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I
Get in Nelly, it'll happen.
no. and that's the other thing is knowing like the personalities of each of the boats.
Oh.
And I know it's like if nothing else, Bertha and Wanda. Bertha and Wanda are such.
Finicky.
They're finicky. They're divas.
Oh, absolutely.
But and every now and then there's times where like, you know what? Sometimes Bertha's the best boat on the river.
I'll support that.
Not always, but like it's.
When
You
there's
look at that lineup
when there's
and you're
no other
like-
boats on the river.
Well, no. It's just sometimes you get in a boat and you get in and you've got your hand on the throttle, you're ready to go, and you go test, and you hear that audio, you're like, we're gonna have a great time. It's just sometimes it takes. There's so many things that contribute to a successful trip around the river, and it's having the right jokes, having the right timing, not having it be super hot out, not having it be raining.
Right.
Like there's
the hotter people are, the wetter people are, the more ornery they are.
yeah, and like there's so many elements.
First boats in the morning are
Yes.
always good.
Oh.
Always good.
Because they're the
Absolutely.
guests that they're rushing down there first.
They
first
want to
trip.
ride the Jungle
We're not going to
Cruise.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We're going to go to the actual best.
Yeah,
We're going to the jungle.
We're going to go to the Jungle Cruise, and
Middle
so
of
they're
the
always
day.
good, and then it drops
Middle
off.
of the days.
Yeah.
Everybody's hot, they're hungry,
And-
they're sweaty.
Yeah, and
they
it's-
don't want to be standing in an
Kids.
85-minute line.
Yeah, and I think Jungle Cruise, Disney World in general, I think is such an interesting thing. Is when you're a kid, puns don't make sense.
No.
Puns are
Right.
puns
That's
are
why I
nonsense.
think like the elephant joke works for kids,
Correct.
which is why I
They
never
get
did it. 'cause
so
I never-
mad.
Yeah, but
They get
but
so mad.
but there's certain things. As I remember, it unfortunately not Jungle Cruise. The first time I was ever aware of a pun was at the Haunted Mansion,
Okay.
a dead center of the room.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I heard,
iconic.
and I went, "It's a joke. I get it. It's the dead center of the room." And
This was last week, or
yeah. No,
See, I
I
said that 20
yeah.
million times today.
but I like the fact that when you see a kid who gets the
Clicks.
jokes, and
Yeah.
and you realize that this is like an aha moment for this child,
Right.
not just as I'm enjoying the Jungle Cruise, but as like a
Oh my gosh.
it's a life-changing moment.
correct, and also
they become a fan. Like in that moment, you're like, you like it.
and I love the idea that the Jungle Cruise can have such a positive experience for guests
Oh yeah.
that it carries afterwards. Is I guarantee you right now there's a family sitting at a table eating a meal and
Talking.
and someone would be like, oh, I forgot to get napkins, and then the rest of the family would say, you know who wouldn't forget? Elephants. And
Oh, like absolutely.
and you know that's happening right now, and I think that's beautiful. I think
Yeah.
it's ludicrous, but it's beautiful.
Well, that just proves the impact that skippers have on guests. Like they remember us to the point that like I'll be in a park and hear Skipper Emily and I'm like something like that. I know that happens to so many
I was
of
getting
us.
on the
and-
bus going at the end of the day from work,
Right.
and somebody comes walking. Oh, I was on your
Right.
boat the other day, and
Or people that come back down and like, we were on your boat a year ago. We wanted
Yeah.
to see if you were still here. or,
That's crazy.
No,
to me.
that's happened to me
That's
so
crazy.
many times.
but
So many
you will
times.
have a boat that seems dead, just not much reaction from the guests, and they get off and they're telling the jokes, and oh, that was really funny.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
where was it when I was in the?
Right.
Yeah,
Where was that?
literally.
Where was that? Well, I think also people. I think sometimes I remember as a kid being almost a little nervous to get on the Jungle Cruise because I was afraid of being called out.
Oh,
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
feel the same thing for Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Is like I don't want to be called out.
Absolutely.
Even now, even though I'm doing this,
Right.
it's.
I
I feel like some people get a little scared of it, but like.
I can see that. See, I never did that because I wasn't that flexible. I
Well,
had to
sure.
do
yeah.
this in order, otherwise I'd be.
You had a
doing lot.
sequence, sure.
Yeah, I had a sequence, and I had
Oh, I
my stick. That,
I call people out like crazy. They're taking a selfie without me. I stop my entire spiel. I stop my whole spiel. And I say, that's okay. I don't want to be in your picture anyways. It's like totally fine. And then you see them either put their phone down quickly or they're like, oh, do you want to be in it? I'm like, yeah, I do. So,
No,
well, and again, that sums up what is so fantastic about the Jungle Cruise for the guests. And we were talking about how great it is to work there and everything, but for them, every trip is going to be different. Depending on what skipper you get, you're going to get great ones, you're going to get one up.
like, even if you get the same skipper multiple times, I guarantee, you rode my boat when you were training. That boat is not the same
No.
As my boat today.
No, it's
my
constantly
boat changes
changing.
we create, like the beauty of being a skipper is how creative all of us are in one place. We create bits
And we feed
daily,
off of each other.
feeding off each other. My boat, I guarantee you, this week is not going to be the same as 2 weeks ago.
No. Or
when
or
Encanto came out,
yes.
within a week,
Oh my gosh.
there were Bruno
There were
jokes.
Bruno jokes.
If you like my cruise, I'm Skipper Roger. If you didn't like my cruise, I'm Skipper Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
And boom, like
or
that.
if you didn't enjoy my cruise, I'm gonna need you
Frozen.
to be like Elsa and let it go.
Yeah.
Like there's so many little things like that, and like pop culture things do sneak into it even though they're not supposed to.
You're not
Yeah.
supposed to.
But
I would only do that if it was Disney-owned intellectual property.
yeah.
It's like the Rock jokes with the Jungle Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's huge.
You
You
can
can't
have
ignore the
pillars.
rock.
Yeah.
Or like, cause guess ask like, are we gonna see the rock? Or like,
You're
there's
like,
one
yeah,
right there.
there's one right
There's
there.
there. There's a rock over
There's-
there. Take them.
Yeah.
Like you want
There's
you want that
1,000
rock, you can have it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. No, I did I referenced The Simpsons referencing Planet of the Apes. Since
it's
so when you're coming out of the chimp boat, it would be, well, they're all here from chimpanzee to chimpanzee,
Oh.
which is referencing two Disney-owned
That's funny.
properties.
That's
So,
brilliant.
That's comedy.
and I have no
Write that
idea
down.
how many people would
Write
get
that
some
down,
of my
write that down.
references that I would make. I would do references to African Queen or, that inspired the original Jungle Cruise in
Oh yeah.
Disneyland.
Or the number of skippers I've seen whistling "Small World" inside the temple.
Yeah.
And that's easy peasy. Everyone's gonna. You hear guests do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But
We're playing rock paper scissors.
I absolutely play rock
Oh,
paper scissors.
with the
The
Oh,
statues.
yeah, I
statues in
think
the
I saw you
temple.
do that. And
Oh
then
my gosh.
I don't think I'd ever seen it before.
Yeah,
and I
you
think
got
when I
off my
rode
boat.
your boat
Yeah.
and like two others that day, and they both did it. It's like, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
I've
Because we
never seen it
started a
before.
bit. One day I started playing rock paper scissors, pulling up to dock, and it just like took off.
Okay.
So I do play rock paper scissors with the statues, and I always get the winning one because I've determined what
I
their
was
what
gonna
their
say,
hands
do you
mean.
win or
But at the I always I only do paper once for the one that does not have arms. And we get to the end of it, and guests will ask me like, "Did you win?" And I say, "Only one of them. They all did rock." And
I used to do that.
that's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Now what I say is, nah, they're all really unpredictable.
Oh, see, that's
Because they're literally, they don't move. But I say, no, they're really unpredictable. And people are like, what?
but that and you constantly have new cast members coming in, bringing in new stuff and new ideas. And
Yes.
it's always
Yeah.
changing, and
We were talking earlier the bean bit.
Beans.
The bean
which I
bit.
still don't understand. Even
That's
though you
okay.
explained
No,
it
no,
to
no,
me for
Because
about
this
8
is when I
hours.
trained
Just-
at Mansion, and I came back like 2
The
weeks
bean-
later,
and it
and
was
it
like-
was all beans. I was like, excuse me, what are you talking about?
This is at this point very far out of the loop for everybody.
This is- yeah.
There was just a day that beans took over the Jungle Cruise, and no one knows how or why.
beans.
No one knows where the beans went. But just for a day, there were beans. There was just beans.
Yeah.
And it was well, and that's having internal bits, and it builds morale and camaraderie, and it makes
Oh,
all the skippers better. You know, when you walk up and they're having a bad day, that doesn't make your day any better. But if everybody's having a good, so I mean,
Correct.
it works.
That's one of my favorite things to do, especially because I'm normally there early in the morning, is I like setting up a dumb bit that'll carry us through the day. And it doesn't always work. But my favorite that we ever did was lunch orders. Is
Yes.
getting over the PA mic for the queue and
Okay.
saying, "Hey, Skipper Emily, I want to make sure your lunch order is right. You wanted on your sandwich a pound of onion,
Yeah.
and one slice of tomato.
Yep.
You can get anything you want on the sandwich, and that's what you want.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. And then throughout the
And like
entire
on that
day,
load, and you're like, yeah,
yeah,
uh-huh,
and
yeah,
just screaming
all
that.
the way across the dock, screaming.
Absolutely, and I think when that one or gosh, there was one where we all pretended to be pod people.
Yeah.
It was like very much, very much like just like everyone pretending to be definitely human skipper Indiana
Definitely.
here. Make sure everyone doesn't go under overly ropes. Keep those children off your shoulders. We got low-hanging ceiling fans. And it's
Stupid. Even like the Christmas ring jingle, the like 12 days of Christmas.
the 12,
Oh my
12
gosh.
days of turtle doves.
12 days of turtle doves.
I
Were
think
you there for that?
I think I was
You were there for every
there.
single one. It was like 12 turtle doves, 11 turtle doves, 10 turtle doves. You just said turtle doves for everything.
Correct.
And that exploded.
Well, people do that over the dock mic, and I find it fascinating to watch the guests because they're like, they're gonna sing 12 days of Christmas.
And
oh my
you-
gosh. And you
You
get
see
day
it click on their
one.
faces like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're going to do the whole
It's
thing.
even worse.
Yeah. But you see, like, day one is, partridge in pear tree, 2 turtle doves, okay, 3 turtle doves. The guests don't hear it.
They don't catch it.
They're
Then
not paying
yeah, and then they've already checked out of it. They already know how the song goes.
Yeah.
4 turtle doves, and you see a couple people go,
Turn their heads. Look at the dock box.
and then you get to 5 turtle doves, and everyone goes,
Oh no.
oh no, this is gonna be the next minute and a half of our lives.
Literally.
Oh my gosh! But that's the stuff that the individual inside bits between the skippers that then bleeds over into the guests. It really does create. It really is when you bring the guests into it. Having the guests stay in the queue, vote on something.
Oh, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. We'll have to do the cha-cha slide.
Oh,
They'll
yes.
Yeah, we'll have them like everybody clap their hands and they'll all clap and stomp and stuff, and we're like, thanks, you just took care of our bug problem.
Yeah.
Like there's no other attraction that you can go over a PA system and just go.
Somebody's
ham.
gonna watch this and put an end to
Or
it.
like this.
No.
No.
No, nobody watches my videos.
No.
No, it is an incredibly difficult thing to do to get a bunch of people and then, hey, I'm going to tell jokes and perform for you for the next 10 minutes and have them up to speed right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Even really good comedians have warm-up acts. We have no warm-up
We have
acts. So when you're doing that stuff over the queue, or whether it's Albert Awol or Skipper Missy doing the PA stuff, that's hopefully bringing
Well,
the guests
I
up
mean,
to...
a lot of times people don't even know what they're signing up for.
No,
There's
no,
a
no,
lot
no, what is
of
this?
like. There's a language barrier a lot of the times.
Yeah.
There's from a lot of different countries, tourists. Some people, first visitors, they didn't really do research. They know the Jungle Cruise. They know there's a movie. They don't know anything past that.
That's why if I have a boat and it's kind of clear early on that there is some kind of a language barrier or any reason why the guests are not fully grasping things, sometimes I just talk too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You got another show scene coming
Well,
up.
yeah, well,
Right.
there's that.
It goes
But
fast.
that's when rock paper scissors with the statues, or
Right.
screaming and hooting and hollering for the backside of water, or like oh no the hippos, and just giving the tone and the energy of something that's ludicrous,
Fun.
comedic, and then if you're the person that's freaking out, and then all of a sudden you're fine, you're like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. That can transcend languages, and I
Because
love that.
You're communicating on
They're
multiple
reading the
levels.
Yes.
the fact that you are having so much fun, and the purpose of the attraction is to have fun. They read that over anything.
Correct, and I think that's
I wish I'd...
They know that it's okay. They know that it's okay to laugh at you.
correct.
Because you are,
Oh, they
quite
know.
honestly, we are up there for 10 to 12 minutes making an absolute fool of ourselves sometimes.
For myself.
But it's fantastic.
I do as much as I can to just sow this idea into the minds of every guest on my boat that I do not know what I'm doing.
Correct.
I am the most incompetent person of all the people that are on this boat. I am not the one that should be driving it. However, I am the one that is. So we're gonna have a great time because of it.
That's also the beauty of Jungle, though. Is every skipper is a different personality. Some act like they don't know what they're doing. Some act like they're the best of the best. Some act like they just don't care.
And that's, I think, I'm so glad they introduced it in, what was it? Was it early 20, no, it was 2019?
Oh, what, for the...
The Skipper
Skipper-
Lodges. The lodges. The,
Oh, yeah, it was somewhere... well, it was
the
after the shutdown, so like 2020...
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if guests have any idea what any of that is. So explain it.
The 5 skipper lodges, or skipper crews, which is CREWS, not CRUISE. The skipper crews or skipper lodges, or as some people would compare it, skipper houses.
The Harry
Wink,
Potter
wink.
type.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I don't work for Disney.
But there's Banana Troop 5571, which is the most well-rounded of the skippers.
Oh,
They're
the
they
skippers.
they
Yeah.
Are you Banana Troop? Are you Banana Troop?
Yeah.
They're the
The
quintessential, the diehard skippers. But like when you think of a Jungle Cruise skipper, that classic archetypal funny person wearing khaki.
It
That's
is
where
that.
you get the
epitome
puns. Yeah, it's
of a skipper.
it is the classic skipper.
So it's the best of the best.
I mean, if you want to say that, if you want to say it. Then there's the Avis Ravras, who are very flighty, very artsy. Eccentric is a good word for it, and it pairs well with them. And then of course there's the pack, who are more intelligence infused jokes. Your
Pack
O-
or
You have to
pachydermy.
think.
yes, pachydermy, O2H, all those like jokes that require
The
just
really good chemistry
a little
joke.
bit of thinking,
Yes.
a little bit of
Because I can't stand a poorly done chemistry joke.
no.
No.
No,
If-
okay.
If it doesn't work and it's not, they're just like
You
saying
might
it.
you might be Banana Troop, you might be pack adjacent.
Anyway.
There's them. There's of course I feel like
Boat crashers.
Boat.
that is me.
I'm also boat crashers.
Oh, makes
Boat
so much
crashers are
sense.
the reckless
We'll
wild.
see what happens.
Yeah, it just we're gonna just
We're doing it.
we're just gonna do it. Is I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna find out.
That I don't know what that is.
Yeah. The
Kinda
do
cute.
first, ask forgiveness later.
Kind of careless.
Yeah.
vibe.
And then
That's where all the rules come from.
yeah, well, yeah, we're the reason there are
They're the
rules
reason
now.
there is rules. Do we
Um,
follow them?
No, not at all. And then the Upstream Society, which is that
Is that all of them?
I think so.
That's the five, yeah.
Yeah. The Upstream's like the hoity-toity.
I'd rather be on a cruise ship than
Yeah,
on a
they're
cruise
they're trying to infuse upper class
Culture.
civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know about it, I think it's a fascinating thing that it's
It's in our lore now.
it's in the lore.
There's lots of
it's,
references in the queue to it in our back room.
It's beautiful. I'm
yeah,
so glad we're getting
our
more of
living,
it.
our like bunks where we live are
Yeah.
technically back there,
Disneyland's Jungle Cruise has a lot of fascinating stuff
Yeah.
attached to it as well.
and also in Skipper Canteen.
Also in Skipper
There's a
Canteen.
lot of
Skipper
references.
Canteen is.
Yeah,
But I love that it's part of the lore of the Jungle Cruise now, but it's also gives especially newer skips
Yeah, like
a
a-
reference point of you don't have to just say the words
Exist.
exactly how you see them.
yeah.
It gives
Kind of like a sense of purpose, like
It-
what they're saying.
to what you're saying, and then and I'm very boat crashers, but
Oh,
every
same.
now and then I definitely have an upstream boat. Every now
Oh,
and then,
absolutely.
just you want to be kind of you want to change up that character, it keeps it fresh for you, but it helps develop. I don't want to say a persona, but I feel like that's the best word for it. Is
Yeah.
the kind of the character of what your skipper is right now in this boat with these guests, and the guests will not piece together any of that.
No,
No, but it helps you as a skipper give the best performance that you can.
absolutely.
Correct.
Which hopefully the guests picked up on that.
Yeah.
I wish we had more merch for that stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe one day. I want a boat crashers
ECU,
union.
like
Yes.
like official.
Oh, a boat
that,
crashers.
that type of merchandise. I
Yeah.
thought just Jungle Cruise in general.
Because
Oh, well,
it's,
we need
it's
more of that
technically in the lore, but
Yeah.
it's not like
I
super like.
want a BCU Letterman jacket.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
You could do that.
Am I
Let's
gonna
do it.
custom order one?
Yeah.
I might custom.
I'll
You
go
could-
in with you.
You could
Well-
custom order stuff. Yeah.
Which is it's so beautiful how much the skippers embrace all that stuff as well.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a skipper who made coasters. Have you seen them?
No.
They're
Yeah.
coasters.
I got
They're
mine from
laser.
Skipper
Well,
King.
there's
those-
another
these are
skipper.
good, these are
She
good.
made shirts
They're
for the.
they're like slate.
Yeah.
They're like the stones.
Okay.
Slate. I think
Yeah.
I'm describing right. But they're laser engraved with the emblems of each of the skipper lodges.
Well, the shirts too, the ones that
there
she made.
there are some shirts as well.
Huh.
Yeah, they're like fraternity shirts,
Okay.
Yeah.
but they're not public. They're for
Yeah,
us.
Yeah, but that's what I love is
skippers make them for
is-
other skippers
yes.
and for themselves, and
that
yeah.
we completely absorb the culture of the Jungle Cruise in so many
Yeah,
different
we totally
aspects.
dive in.
It and you do not like. I mean, former skipper, still a skipper.
Once a
Still
skipper,
a
always
skipper.
Once a skipper, always a skipper.
It's not as active.
Yeah. You're lost in the river somewhere.
Yeah.
But but it's the fact that it completely ingrains into your life,
Absolutely.
and it does not wash out, and I love it so
I
much.
think that it's also like every attraction is its attraction because it's like because of like its story. So that's why it's easy for like every other attraction to just like exist. Jungle Cruise skippers are the attraction. Like
Yeah.
we are what makes that. Like that ride would not.
If
It gives
was-
us the perfect canvas.
If it was just going around looking at
Boring.
animatronic animals.
Right.
Okay,
Which-
little kids would like it.
Yeah,
But-
saying animal facts. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very
Since the
1955.
get-go, that was
Yeah.
the whole like this
Yeah.
this needs to be better, and the skippers are really like we totally like own the fact that like we need to make this good.
Yeah, and it becomes a very personal thing for each skipper, in terms of because it is also repeating the same jokes, but also skippers working very hard to craft new ones.
Yeah.
to keep it new for
Fresh every
themselves,
time.
keep it new
That's
for the guests.
one of the things that I think I enjoyed most about being a skipper is I got to be creative.
Yeah,
It's not just here's your script and you read it. No, you take this joke from here and this and this and this.
Well,
and
yeah, and a lot
add
of
in your own little thing here and yeah, this Disney lore and you get to create something new that is.
that's why a
uniquely
lot of
yours.
guests ask. They're like, "Are all you guys this funny?" Or like, "Do you have to memorize something?" And you're like, "Yes, we're all this funny." But no, every single one of us is different.
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
And
There's
that's what
that like
makes it-
base, of course, like are approved, but
Yeah.
every skip is different.
Yeah, and I mean, heck, right now there's a few different jokes I'm excited to get in a boat and try out.
I tried one the last time I was there, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is so good."
Yeah, or sometimes you tell a joke and you go,
Never telling that again.
okay, we gotta
Gotta work on
maybe
that.
we gotta I gotta set it
Can't
up different.
deliver it that
Yeah, it's
way,
there's or like maybe this is gonna be funnier at these elephants and not these elephants.
Right.
Like it, and sometimes that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But there is so much creativity and crafting that goes into each one. And some people get in a boat and they tell their jokes and they have a great time and they leave at the end of the day.
Right.
And then some
Nothing wrong with
people
that.
they are I'm definitely guilty of this. Very proud of the boat that they put together.
I am too.
And
I would hope so.
Yeah.
well, yes. So to be proud of it, but to be like,
I mean,
this is my boat.
Very unique, very
Yeah.
individual. It's like special. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to really branch out and like get bits and like switch them in and out, find what works. It takes a lot of time because you've been there for how long?
Over here now.
Yeah, and I've been there since with the little break of COVID. It'd be 3 years.
Yeah.
So
That's a long time.
I watched a video of me actually on my CP.
Okay.
I just found it in my shared photos.
Little baby skip.
Oh my gosh, little teeny 19-year-old Emily,
Oh.
insane. I was like, how did I think I was funny? I was like, my voice was like like dog whistle octaves, like jokes awful, just and I now think of that versus now and I'm like, man,
And of
I
course,
said
for,
nothing.
for guests that are riding on that boat or somebody else's first boat, the skipper's growing, they're developing, they're
Oh.
evolving, and you're a part of what's going to make them.
Oh, I mean,
I mean, it works both ways. I tell this guests all the time, as they make magic for us as much as we
Oh,
make
absolutely.
for them.
absolutely. Well, also,
Um,
how many guests have not guests? How many skippers have you seen come to the Jungle Cruise as quiet, very 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 to themselves, very nervous about standing
So
in front
many.
of people, and you look at that person 4, 5, 6 months down the line, and they are a completely different person, and it's
unrecognizable.
and then they clock out and they're back to
Right. No, it like brings the best out of people.
It
It
really
brings them out of their
does.
comfort zone.
I think it's a fun challenge for a lot of people. Even the people who seem like who do on their first date take right to it and they're off to the races and
Yeah.
and you know they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
There's still challenges for them as well because at a certain point you do have to change it up. You have to keep it different for yourself. It cannot be the same boats going in circles all the time. But I think that's kind of what makes it as excellent as iconic as it is it's such a personal experience going on this boat that millions of people have been on.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've been going. I was going to do this for like 10 minutes, and the timer, my iPad blanked out on me, so I have no idea how long we've been talking.
I also don't know how long we've been talking.
But we've been having a good conversation. We've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it. I
Absolutely.
don't know. Hopefully, guests watching will enjoy it. But we'll wrap it up. And so that's the idea of Mickey's Roundtable. Is we sit around at Mickey's Roundtable and we talk about whatever Disney thing you want to talk about. If you want to join me, contact me. Maybe I'll want to talk about the same thing. Parks, movies, resorts, restaurants, whatever it happens to be. Today, it just happened to be the world famous Jungle Cruise with Skipper Indiana and Skipper Emily. And I'm Skipper Roger for today. But before we go, just a quick reminder, when you are entering or exiting your Jungle Cruise boat, do not cross over the crates in the
Don't do
middle.
it.
Do not step over those
Don't go out the
signs. Do
window
not step over
either.
those- Don't go out the window.
Yeah.
It's not a great idea.
Yeah.
It's the Jungle Cruise, not a Jungle
Shattering
Cruise.
experience.
Oh my goodness. Well, and watch your head, watch your step. Use
Use the
those handrails.
handrails.
Use those
That's,
handrails.
that's important too. All right. Till next time.